Hello nephews and nephettes, it is I, Uncle Major, your favorite uncle. No pun intended. I recently made a video covering all armor pieces of ability, which you can check out on the info card on the top right corner of the screen or in this video description. Something that I noticed while working on that was how Elden Ring has some really nice looking armor sets. And a few that are just atrocious to my eyeballs.
I understood that reference.
Shut up!
So I came up with the idea of making two videos. One covered the top 10 best looking sets, this one, and the other about 10 armor sets that I wish I could unsee. That means these two videos are all about Fashion Ring. I don't care if you give a bonus, and I definitely don't care about meta. If that's all you're after, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of other channels for that. My channel is all about how good you look in a wooden suit. This video will be released first, but when the other one, covered the freak shows out, you will find the link on the top right card, the description, or the end cards at the end of this video. For this one, I decided to mix things up a little bit and create a few rating criteria. Otherwise it would just be a straight up list of these are the best looking sets in my opinion. So the criterias are quality, covers the condition the armor appears in game, the materials used to craft the set, and how much detail or effort went into its design. Cool. It is all about the impact the set has at a glance. It also includes reference to pop culture like how Knight's set is basically Sauron, if he was a vegan. Features. How much variety the set offers. For example, how many helms does it have? Can any piece be altered? Are there weapons that belong to the set? I won't be considering things like spells or spirit ashes. What counts here is how things looks on an idle character. Versatility. How well a set can be mixed with pieces from other sets and weapons and still look good. And finally, the most controversial topic of them all, but it's unavoidable. I really need to talk about it, and I don't care what you think on the matter. And that is my opinion. Yes, nephews, I know, this is a hot take. Imagine having put on a video made yourself where you have to pick 10 out of 100 of options. That was sarcasm. Just like this line explained, the sarcasm was also sarcasm. I will be calling this criterion bias, and it will be the tiebreaker when two sets have the same score. The one with the higher bias score goes higher on the list. With that out of the way, let's start with number 10, the 3 Sentinel armor. It scored higher on quality at 7 points. The armor pieces have a lot of detail, are made from fine materials, but lack a bit on one area. The same one where most armor sets in this game suffer, which is how worn out they look. There are some that look like it belong to a tarnished that tripwire running from a pack of K-laid rabbit dogs. For cool factor, it's kinda okay. It's just another Golden Knight armor in the game, but it's the biggest one, so it gets a 4. It also offers some variety. You can remove the cape from the chest piece, which I actually think looks better. It comes with 4 weapons and 1 shield to go along with it. The Golden Halberd, 3 Spear, Earth 3 Shield, and the Earth 3 Bow and Great Bow. I will consider these last 2 as a single point. That earns the 3 Sentinel set a 5 on features. Believe it or not, the set is actually quite versatile when mixed with other armor pieces, mostly ones that are also golden, scoring another 5. And the bias score sits right in the middle. First, let me get something out of the way. I like golden stuff, but I prefer as a detail, especially when it's black with golden trim. So what I like about this set is that it's a big golden armor that mixes well with other golden armor pieces. But that's it. The 3 Sentinel armor set scored a total of 26 points, earning it the 10th place spot on this list. For number 9, you have the Oathseeker Knight set. I was actually pretty surprised I landed 9th place because, like I said before, I like black with golden trim. If I were ranking this purely by how much I like the look, this one would be easily landing like around 3rd or 4th place. For quality, it scores 8 points for 2 reasons. First, it looks great in game, with black steel with some nice golden detail, but it does look a bit worn out. And that's where the second reason bumps up the cool factor. This type of armor actually existed. It is based on a Greenwich armor which showed up in 16th century England. If you Google, you'll see that the real ones are even more flashy. So for cool, it scores a 6. It would have been lower otherwise, especially because not many people seem to care about this set. I bet if more people knew about the Greenwich connection, it would be more popular. While I was editing this video, I played a bit of Dark Souls 3, and by pure coincidence I noticed that the Fallen Knight set is also a Greenwich armor, but covering crap shit rags. For features, it scores a abysmal 2 points. The only variety it offers is Leda's version of the chest piece, which is the same armor but with a white cloak, and the bata claws. That's it. Versatility is also low. Its unique black steel with golden details make it hard to match with other armor pieces or even weapons. I found that the best weapon for it, beside the bata, is the Troll's golden sword. Sounds random, but it actually matches the golden trim pretty well. And lastly, like I said before, I really like this armor. If I was just going by personal taste, it would be way higher on this list. So it gets a 8 on bias, totaling 26 points. And because of the higher bias score, it ends higher than the 3 Sentinel armor. Coming up next, at number 8, is the Fire Knight set. Okay, I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to make it to the top 10. I picked it to run with the other sets because I think it's a really cool looking Pyromancer Knight. Normally games botch that by making them look like a South America Santa Claus instead. Trust me, that's what they look like. For quality, it scores a 6. Considering the Fire Knights are part of an invader army that has been forsaken for who knows how long, the fabric is actually in really good shape. The metal doesn't seem to be the best quality, but there was some effort forging it, and overall, the pieces also look to be in decent condition. For cool factor, I'll also give it a 6. Like I said, finally, a good looking Pyromancer Knight armor. But there is a bit of an uncanny factor that kills any chance of scoring higher, and that is how weird it makes both enemies and player characters look with those bull noodle arms, especially when using the altered version of the chest piece. And speaking of alternatives, this set scores an impressive 8 points in features, and the main reason I managed to nab a spot on this list. You'll get 4 different helmet options, the already mentioned altered chest piece, and 3 weapons options: Fire Knight's short sword, Fire Knight's great sword, and Quillig's great sword. For versatility though, it scores a bit low, at 4 points. The metallic material has a very unique look to it, which makes it hard to mix with other armor pieces. But there are a few options, especially with sets that have a vibrant red on them. And for the bias factor, I scored it a miserable 3 points. Because although I like the option it gives, I rarely use a Pyromancer in Elden Ring. And I really don't know why I don't use it. Maybe I just don't like it. Now that I come to think of it, I don't think I ever used this in Dark Souls 1 or 3 either. Of course, you can use whatever armor in a build, but I am all about that cohesive featuring. At number 7 is the Solitude set. Now that's a Giga Chat set. For quality, it scores a 7 points. Although a bit squarish, there are a lot of details on this set, and it looks reasonably well preserved. For cool factor, it grabs a strong 8 points. This is a very unique looking armor game. Very bulky, blocky, straight lines. There's nothing else like it. Come on, look at it. If these armor sets were cars, you could say that the Solitude would be a Lamborghini with that origami look. But features are not the strong point here. The set only comes with one weapon, the Great Sword of Solitude, and the chest piece can be altered to remove the cape. So it scores 3 points. Why 3? I think it was supposed to be 2. What? So it scores a 2. The crossbow the boss uses is not made specifically for this set, it is just another weapon he uses. And because this set has a very striking straight lines and a very uniquely great shaded metal, it is a bit hard to aesthetically match with other armor pieces. Almost everything else needs to be black or at least very dark, so I give it a 3 for versatility. As for the bias factor, I give it an 8. Because although it looks super cool, there are many items that can visually match the Solitude set. For the number 6 spot on this list, we have the Duelist set. It gets the lowest quality score in this entire list, just 3 points. And honestly, that's fair. The bronze is all oxidized, the cloak looks more like a homeless blanket, and the sarong is just rags made from a burnout house curtain. But hey, it makes sense. it is the outfit of a slave. But none of that matters when this thing looks dope as fuck. It scores a 9 in cool factor. You can choose to be a gladiator, or a gladiator bum, or better yet, a comic gladiator bum. So you can change colors, remove the cloak, and choose between two weapons, the Duelist Great Axe and Battle Hammer. You would have scored a 4 in features, but since the set doesn't have a gauntlet, it gets 1 point removed. Versatility gets a 4. While there are many weapons that goes well with it, the same cannot be said about mixing armor pieces. The hooded cloak only works with the Elite helm, and there are no headpieces that can be properly covered by the cloak, nor are hood chest pieces that can actually fit over the helm. But at least the Grievous is quite versatile. And finally, for the bias score, if it was obvious by now, I really like this armor set. But I'm keeping it at 8 because it falls short when it comes to mixing up with other gears, just like the Solitude set. Positioning at number 5 is Death Knight set. For quality, I give you a 5, mostly because it's pretty worn out, but you can tell it was made for some high-end materials. The chainmail looks different from most others in the game, and there's clearly some efforts in the details. That's why it lands right in the middle. Now, I actually think this is a cool looking armor set. The skull helm might be a bit edgy, sure, but the whole vibe is great, unique compared to everything else. When I look at it, I see some Aetian prestigious knight who was supposed to rest for eternity. Until some tarnished prick showed up to steal their clothes, because of course, featuring. So I give it a 7 in cool. For features it gets a low 2. You have got the Death Knight's twin axe and the long haft axe. That's it. But versatility tells us a different story. If you didn't try, you don't know how surprisingly good it is for mixing with other armor pieces. Most combos requires golden gear, sure, but they actually work really well. So it scores a solid 6. And for the bias factor, I give it an 8, because I really like the look and how well it mixes other sets. The only downside is that sometimes the helm looks a bit angsty teenager, you know. Overall, it scored 28 points. At number 4, we have the Hornet Warrior set, or as I like to call it, the HS800. That stands for Hornsent Model 800, for obvious reason. For quality, I was torn between giving a 5 or a 6. Even though it's clearly not in mint condition, I don't think it's a bad shape at all. So definitely a middle-of-the-road score. Plus, it's quite unique. For the cool factor, I think I made it pretty obvious that this set looks dope as fuck. Very distinct, a little ominous too, in a good way. So in abs, 8 points for cool. The only downside is that it looks better on the enemies because they wear the full armor. The player version, not so much, but that should be more of a personal choice. Should be, but isn't. Because this is my video, and my words are law. If I tell you something is cool, then it is. If I tell you to fetch the Dragonstone for the 11th time, you fetch it. If I tell you to leave a like and subscribe and all that corny YouTube creative shit, you do it. And if you don't, well, I guess Mr. X will tailgate you in a BMW for the rest of your life. Where were we? Oh yes, features. It scores a meager 2, because all it got is the Hornet Warrior Sword and Great Sword. Versatility isn't great either. There are a few pieces it mixes decently with, but because the metal has a different tint from most armor sets in the game, it is pretty limiting. And the helm has a really weird shape around the neck, which makes it hard to find something that doesn't make it appear that it's out of place, so it scores a 4. And for the bias factor, well, this is one of my favorite armor sets in the game, mostly because of their ominous headgear, the overall unique design, and the trauma of getting terminated by what is easily one of the most restless enemies in the game. By the way, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Now you'll learn that every time a Hornet Warrior shows up, there will be a jump scare. In third place we have the Hoslow set, which honestly I didn't expect to end this high on the list, but here we are. And that is mostly thanks to its perfect quality score, a full 10. It's not hard to see why. This is one of the most detailed, high-end sets in the game. You take one look at it and immediately know that it's the kind of thing worn by spoiled little noble brats. You know, the ones who sip tea with their pinky stinky out and complain about the texture of their foie gras. and I think that the whole noble flare actually helps with the cool factor. That, and the fact that the armor isn't all rust and moldy like 90% of the other sets in the game. So if you're looking for something pristine and polished, this is the one for your few varied options in Elden Ring. That earns a slightly above average score in cool. For features though, almost non-existent. You get 2 headpiece options, the Hoslo helm and mask, and the chest piece can be altered to remove their weird little cape, if you are into that. And you have 1 weapon, the Hoslo's battle whip. So yeah, just a 3 here. Versatility, however, is quite solid. You can mix and match this arm with a lot of different sets, especially by swapping out the headpiece. Just pop something else on top and bang! Insta-featuring! So it gets a strong 7 for that. As for the bias score, I'm giving it a flat 5. I do like the way it looks, but for me, it only works really on builds where I want to look fancy and refined. And even then, it is not always my go-to option for that either. Coming up at number 2 is one of the most unique armor sets in Elden Ring, the Crucible set. Let's be honest, it would have felt wrong if this set wasn't this list at all. It scored a 9 in quality inside my head, which is the only score keeping system that matters here. And while it's not in pristine condition, as you can see on the F80 cape, let's cut it some slack. The knights who wear this thing have been around in the lands between for a long time, even before the Earth Tree itself. It's also made of a very peculiar metal. At first glance, you might think it's copper, but no. It is not copper, brass, or bronze. I am pretty sure this is made of metallic alloy. Still, it is insanely detailed and heavily engraved, which offers no tactical advance whatsoever. Now, for the cool factor, come on, just look at it. If it's like a Bronze Age collapsed hammer and a sacrificial axe had a child and decided to cosplay as a helm. So yeah, I humbly give it a 9 instead of 10, because that 1 point won't matter in the grand scheme of this extremely serious, not at all arbitrary ranking. Now, features. Oh boy, this one is stacked. You get 2 chest piece options, both can have the cape removed. You got 3 different helms, 3 weapons, all from different categories. Ordova's Great Sword, Sildur's Tree, and Devonia's Hammer. And the cherry on top, the Crucible Horn Shield, which looks like a Pharaoh's Serpent chemical reaction that someone glued on a slab of copper. Anyway, it scores a solid 8 here. Oops. But now the bad news, versatility. This set managed to be the only one that scores a big fat 0 on this list. The metal of this set clashes with basically every other armor in the game. Try and mix it with anything and you ended up like a Buddhist monk going to a movie theater to watch Halloween. And finally for bias, it gets a 9, because this is my favorite set in the entire game. If it were so aesthetic and flexible, it would be a 10 without hesitation. Before we check out who took home the chicken dinner, let's take a look at some honorable mentions that didn't make the cut. Oh wait, who am I kidding? Who cares about losers? Let's throw honor in the trash bin and jump straight to the one lucky enough to survive my shitty list and seal number 1 spot. And the chicken dinner winner is the Carian Knight set. Not gonna lie, this one's not even a surprise to me. Even back when I first had the idea of making this video, I kinda knew this set would have come out on top, even after going through the questionable criteria I created. Let's break it down by category, because I think numbers explain pretty well why I ended up here. First off, quality. This is one of the most pristine look armor sets in the entire game. The materials, top tier. Detail work, phenomenal. And it strikes a really nice balance between sturdy metal plating and elegant leather. Finally, a proper armor set for those ironclad knights who also dabble in sorceress. So yeah, this one gets a clean 10 in quality, and 7 for cool. Now features. This is where the set really flexes. Sure, armor wise, all you can do is take off the cape, which I personally prefer that way. But when it comes to weapons and accessories, oh man, the list is long. That's what she said, by the way. Now, sometimes it's debatable whenever a weapon belongs to a set, but in this case, there are obvious matches. Carian Knight Sword, Troll's Knight Sword, Carian Sorcery Sword. I think we can also consider the Glintstone Chris as part of the set. There's also Carian Knight Shield, Carian Thruster Shield, Carian Regal Scepter, Carian Glitblade Staff. You get the idea.
so it definitely scores a 10 on features. Teodoro, you're right in front of my script. And then there's versatility. This one's up there too, with a 7. It's very similar to the Oslo set in that regard. If the hollows mixes well with red accents, the Icarian Knight does wonders with blue and silvers, especially the helm. It is surprisingly flexible with other armors, which earns it 1 more point than Oslo's. And finally, the bias factor. I'm giving it a 6. I do really like this armor, it looks awesome, it is easy to mix and match, and it finally gives Spellblades a nice armor set that doesn't make them look like a jester playing with a loose neon light bulb. But here's the thing, I use it so much on my early builds that I kinda gonna burn out. It's like eating pizza every day, you know? You probably don't. Neither do I, for obvious reason. So there you have it, nephews and nephettes. My shitty top 10 list of the best looking armor in Elden Ring. Before we wrap this up, here's how the list would look like if there are no criteria. Just a straight up pick based on my personal taste. Yeah, the criteria definitely change a few things, and I'm glad I used them, made things a bit more dynamic, and even made me look at these sets from a different angle. If you like this video, well, leave me a like. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to your new favorite uncle. Now, are you ready to check out the ugliest armor set this game has to offer? Click here to watch it right now, or check whatever video YouTube is recommending for my channel. I hope to see you there. Take care, nephews.